term to know is corporate social responsibility, CSR. This term reflects how organizations aim to have strategies that are mindful of stakeholders and the larger society. We often use this word for any organization, even if they're not officially corporations. Big idea for this section: ethics and social responsibility are not just something to respond or react to. Instead, CSR is a tool to use. So CSR should be used as an integral tool to fill your organizational goals, not just a side item, not just baggage. Here's a classic example. REI pushed back on Black Friday back in 2015. Black Friday, it's a major retail event in the United States that kicks off the Christmas shopping season. It refers to the Friday after Thanksgiving, but sales have started earlier, including Thanksgiving proper. So REI is a retailer co-op that sells sporting and outdoor equipment. Back in 2015, they announced they would close their doors on Black Friday as a call for their employees and customers to hashtag opt outside. Black Friday is usually considered a major shopping event, an opportunity for revenue. Why do you think REI did this? So I'll give you a little bit of time to think about that. Okay, so we're back. So what did you think? Perhaps you've heard of what have you heard perhaps? And perhaps maybe we've had a couple years on this. Maybe some notions of a larger trend. So let's consider what REI sells and their overall mission and brand personality. So besides selling high quality equipment, a strong part of their identity is as a co-op, a company owned and operated by its customers, fellow outdoor enthusiasts. What better way to differentiate itself from other retailers? You reinforce effectively your unique positioning to other retailers. You build awareness among prospective customers. And then you boost loyalty among their own due to the willingness to wait for Saturday. So looking back, REI likely saw the growing backlash against Black Friday. Customers and workers alike were concerned that the drive to open on Thursday. More must leave the Thanksgiving table early, and it especially puts employees in a bind because they need to be at their job whether they wanted to have a Thanksgiving dinner or not. REI recognized that cultural trend. More companies did so as well, and in fact today, we've seen how channel strategies have adjusted. We see it's easy to open sales in more ways. They're relying more on online distribution channels and omni-channel strategies. So no need to make that a situation. And in sum, REI is an example of how to use CSR to your advantage. And so consider the ways you can better connect CSR to your own larger strategic objectives. On the flip side, you may not always have the luxury of doing CSR at your convenience. So consider the trend for organizations to phase out single-use plastic straws. So there's quite a few factors, including natural causes. Single-use straws just get thrown away and don't tend to decompose quickly. Legal. There's increasing restrictions or fines to incentivize switching to more sustainable products or practices. You may soon find you don't have the luxury of just waiting. Labor. Potential that straw alternative could reduce considerations for your operations. And tech. In time, more alternatives will be available. But until then, well... And then, of course, there's customer preferences. Customers vary in how much they don't like to be inconvenienced and desire to be socially responsible. But they often reward companies that do match their preferences. And there may be opportunities such as appealing to customer desires through, say, cookie straws or sweeter drinks. or using plastic lids with zippers. Then again, what's responsible for one segment isn't to another. Starbucks had to affirm to customers with disabilities that need a straw that they'll still be able to get one as a matter of both conscience and civil rights law. And so the question soon becomes when and how much to do. Some companies will be better equipped to create a solution and implement it. Some may have to wait for their suppliers to come up with one for them or for it to become more cost effective when big companies start switching. So, for example, places that use thin single-use straws may have more potential suppliers to start than milkshake or milk tea shops that use those fat plastic ones. So in sum, CSR is a strategic tool because it's one of many responses to managing your environment and the customers that come with it. So going forward, lots of ways an organization can and perhaps ought to be socially responsible. And there's examples aplenty in the notes and online, and even more so if you get into particular industries or examples. So if you have a particular market then you will have even more choices. So 3 big perks to remember about CSR. 1, lots of opportunity to reduce your costs. Electric vehicles that are better for stop and go anyway, reducing labor costs and helping customers feel good by encouraging towel reuse at hotels. So I'm not saying it's not, sometimes it will cost money to start, but there are often longer term benefits. Next, make it part of your value to help you differentiate from other organizations, such as with Method and Patagonia. Its appeals of providing earth-friendly products. It doesn't have to be huge either. A small ice cream shop helping a kid's sports team helps boost itself as the local ice cream hangout. Finally, use it to find opportunities. When organizations like Hilton or Southwest make policies and a better organization culture that recruits and supports veterans and military families, well, it's a huge benefit to their HR department for the skills they each bring and store loyalty. Likewise, employee resource groups like at Estee Lauder, huge variety of employee-led groups to foster inclusion and trade information. Everything from women, men, different ethnic groups, veterans, admin professionals, age, families at work, builds up and better well-being for your employees, more likely to foster innovation, and much more. Another technique to consider is called cause marketing, also called cause-related marketing, where a for-profit firm and a non-profit organization partner for mutual benefit. This is not the same as philanthropy or charitable donations, where that's just a one-way transaction. What it is that they are co-branding or organizations tying donations to the sale of a product or anything else more integrated. So for example, Dannon Yogurt donates money to breast cancer research for each lid a person sends in. Tom's Shoes and Bombas Socks donates 1 pair to someone in need for every 1 pair you buy. American Express has maps and incentives to encourage its customers to buy from small businesses and a large chunk of Amex's clients. So pros to cause-related marketing is that it helps you stand out and build better brands. Customers often like this and are willing to pay more for your products. So you may serve fewer people, even if it's more expensive, but because each person pays more per person, you still end with higher revenue. It's goodwill in general with other organizations, and finally, well, it's good to help others. Cons, though, of course, the cost or rather customer overload is a thing. It can be harder to stand apart now that customers are kind of used to this month to month and they've started tuning people out. You also need to make sure it actually fits well with your strategy, and that will take time and money to figure out. And so to sum up, cause marketing encourages customers to pay more, have increased loyalty, and for us to differentiate. So it's a handy tool to do good and develop your brand. Next, remember too, CSR initiatives can be aimed to more than just your customers. Your stakeholders and suppliers and all of them matter too. So 2 examples from Hurricane Irma. First, Walt Disney, or rather Walt Disney World, not Walt Disney himself, Walt Disney World theme parks rely on their cast members to create memorable guest experiences. During Hurricane Irma, Disney was in contract negotiations with its cast members' labor union. It was in Disney's best interest, though, to listen to the request that they pay the workers for lost shifts when Disney had to close the Walt Disney World properties for that time. In addition, cruise lines further helped by providing customer refunds, but also sending ships to help relief efforts for their service partners. So it may increase costs and lose short-term revenue, but cruise lines were helping to get things back up while building goodwill, ultimately helping. So you can imagine how your CSR initiatives can be a part of your brand identity or even part of your value offering. Organizations like REI or others may be looking for suppliers that fit their core values. Likewise, an organization may want to do business only with retailers that fit their values as well. And so you've got businesses like EcoVadis, which helps organizations verify their CSR practices or their suppliers' practices, for example. So ultimately, there is value in CSR. And ultimately, it's about a good fit to the customers, organizations, and other stakeholders. So Doughgirl Pizza in Van Nuys, California tends to feed, mentor, and hire troubled teens and teens at risk. Why? Well, you can look at the articles, but basically they explain it's not just done out of the owner's desire to do good by these teens, but also because she and her business are uniquely suited to handle this opportunity. She herself has strong culinary experience and at the same time was an ex-convict who had trouble with businesses giving her a chance. Therefore, her initiative to feed, mentor, and hire teens is as much a matter of doing good as it is she can differentiate her brand because she can actually do it. Her customers were especially receptive to this because she's doing good by their shared community. So, in sum, this CSR initiative fits well because it lets her differentiate from the pack of restaurants among her customers. It's rooted in her capabilities as chef and kid raised in similar surroundings, and of course, to do good.